When I got the UC on the
Bands are always.
yeah, like girl, I know about you. She didn't even like if y'all don't come in and practice.
They're both full slate.
No, you need to tackle. They even see it right
All right, guys.
So I'll be me, my
All right, so you guys just took a test last class. I did grade it, but I still have to type it in. So my hope is maybe during lunch today I'll have time, but if you want to know what you got when we're done with notes, I'm happy to just tell you if you want, if I haven't typed it in yet. By lunch. Okay, so we're now in your second unit of quarter two. So you have 3 units in quarter two. One of them was on rationals. You just tested over that. So the next one's going to be exponentials and logs. So today's day 1 of new stuff. So first thing here, exponential graphs. Okay, your parent function is going to be 2 to the x. And then in order to make the graph, we're just going to plug in 0, 1, 2, 3. So let's make a little chart here. 0, 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to just kind of plug those in without necessarily using a calculator, because hopefully we don't really need it. So if I plug in a 0, it's, remember, 2 to the x. Then it'd be 2 to the 0. What is 2 to the 0 or anything to the 0? Should always come out the same. What should it be?
0.
Not 0. Anything to the 0 is, put it in the calculator. Put 2 up to the 0. 1. Any base, if you put a 0 on it, should give you 1. Okay, the next number we're plugging in is 1. So I'm going to have 2 to the 1. And what's 2 to the 1? Still 2. Okay, what about 2 to the 2? 4. And then last one would be 2 to the 3. So that'd be 2 times 2 times 2. 8. Okay, so now that we have a couple of points, let's go ahead and graph those. So 0, 1 would hit right here. 1, 2 would hit right here. 2, 4. And then 3, 8. Now, what you should notice is that your y value is doubling each time. The 1 turned into a 2, then double it, it turned into a 4, then double it, it turned into an 8. So this is going to continue to double on the right hand side as your x gets bigger and bigger. Now, if my y value is doubling as my x's get bigger, then it's halving as I go backwards. So if this is a 1, it's going to go to a half, then a 4th, then an 8, then it's going to keep getting smaller and smaller. Okay, but it will never go negative. Here's why. No matter what number you have, even as you keep cutting it in half, it's never going to be exactly 0. It's just going to keep getting smaller and smaller. So we are going to call that a horizontal asymptote. So along the x-axis, I want you to draw it in, dotted line. Okay, we've already done horizontal asymptotes for a minute. Okay, but y equals 0 is a horizontal asymptote. Okay. And another fancy way of saying exponential is exponential growth. So if you want to write that down. Okay, if your y value is doubling or tripling, that's exponential growth. Okay, does anybody see a little mirror? I do this. You see it? Oh, there it is.
Where?
Oh, wait, never mind, that's uploads. I apparently blocked you. Did you find it?
Wow.
It's fine. It's probably in my bag, maybe.
Okay.
Oh, right.
Okay. Alright, so now look at number one. Okay, we're gonna do, all the rules for all the functions are exactly the same. If it's a number with X, it's gonna shift you left and right. If it's a number at the back, it's gonna shift you up and down. So take a look at number one. Okay, do you notice that you have an X minus 3 at the top? That's gonna shift your graph to the right 3. And then what do you think the plus 5 in the back is gonna do if the rules are always the same? Up 5, very good. So on your graph, I want you to go to the right 3, 1, 2, 3, and then up 5. And that's where your asymptote goes. So once I hit that 5 value, I'm gonna draw in my flat line here. And that is now the line that I can't touch. Okay, then from there, this is one of the only parent graphs that doesn't hit the origin. How many boxes above the origin did the parent graph hit at? How high above the origin was that first stop? 1 box above, so then we're gonna just copy that, go 1 box above your origin. And it would now be right there. And then remember, I'm not gonna draw all the dots, but it goes up to the right. And then down to the left. Slowly but surely approaching that purple asymptote line. Okay. What would the equation be for my horizontal asymptote? What number does it happen at? That I can't touch? So y equals 5. And then my domain, how far to the sides does this graph go? Infinity this way, negative infinity this way, so we'll put all real numbers. And then for your range, remember range is lowest comma highest. What is the lowest that this one can go? 5, and what's the highest it can go? Infinity. Now, remember, I'm gonna get closer and closer to 5, but I'm never gonna actually get there. So do I want a bracket or a parentheses on 5? Bracket means I get there. Do I get there? So parentheses. Same thing with infinity. Infinity is not a number I can actually get to. That's why it also gets a parentheses.
Can you repeat the last phrase that you said parentheses?
It's a parentheses because it's gonna get closer and closer and closer to 5, but it will never actually hit 5. Okay, go to number 2. Which way are we gonna shift 4 if it's an X minus 4? Okay, to the right. What about the minus 6? So go to the right 4 and down 6. And then remember, that's not a dot, that's where the asymptote goes. So I'm gonna draw my asymptote in right there. And then normally the parent graph starts exactly 1 above that spot. Okay, however, this graph has an extra number in the front. Do you see it right here? Will that number be a vertical stretch or a vertical compression? It's a stretch. So instead of that first dot being 1 box away, now we're gonna stretch it to be 3 boxes away. So if this is my starting box right here, I'm gonna go up 1, 2, 3, up on this side, down on this side. But you'll notice it's the same graph shape. You're just kind of shifting it and then stretching it. Okay. What would your horizontal asymptote be? Y equals what? -6. What's your domain? What's your domain?
Oh, all numbers.
All real numbers. And then remember, range is still lowest to highest. What's the lowest this graph can go to? -6. Highest is infinity, but both of those I can't actually get to, so I'll use parentheses, not brackets.
I do always gonna be all of them.
For domain, yes. Yes. Okay, one more like that. Take a look at number 3. Which way are we shifting? For the +5, let's start with that. Left, and then -1 would be down, so go to the left 5, down 1. Now remember, that first dot is where your asymptote goes, not where your graph cuts through. So I'm gonna put my asymptote right here. And then normally, my very first dot that I place is 1 box above that. How far will my box go above that this time? A half. And would I call that a vertical stretch? What's it called? Okay, shrink is what a lot of teachers call it, but it should be compression. Yeah, compression shrinks. Okay, so the vertical compression means instead of placing my first dot 1 full box above that new origin, I'm gonna put it only halfway, so like right there. And then I'm gonna go up this way and down this way. Questions on that? What would my horizontal asymptote be? Y equals what? -1. What would my domain be? Okay, we already established it's pretty much always all real numbers for that. And then your range, lowest it can go is, highest is infinity. Okay, do we have any questions on that? Okay, so go ahead and turn the page. Yep.
So the number in front of the parentheses is it depicts if it's a vertical stretch or vertical compression.
Correct. And that will affect how far your first dot is, how many boxes away. Okay, go ahead and turn the page. So the other thing you need to be able to do today besides graph is how to solve. Okay, this is not super hard, but it is gonna take a little bit of concentration at the beginning to kind of understand what's going on. So at the top, you have several charts of powers. These are just to help you without having to like think too much. So what is 2 squared?
4.
And then if I times by 2 again, I turn that into what? 8, and I would call it 2 cubed, right? If I times by 2 again, 2 cubed goes to 2 to the 4th, and the number would be equal to 16. Now you'll notice that with a number like 2, where it's small, that's easy. But now look at like your 7's chart. What's 7 squared?
49.
Okay, so if I times by 7 one more time, that's 7 cubed. And you see your 343 there. So these charts are just to help you with your work. Okay, but there are other potential numbers that could show up on your practice that you'll have to find. Okay, so all these up here, just kind of look at them and let's look at number 1. Step number 1, you are going to convert to a common base. And what I mean by that is that you're going to use all of the charts at the top of the page to try to get the same base on both sides. So for example, for number 1, it's a 2 to the 2x. And I want my 64 to also be written as a base 2. So look in your 2's chart. Do you see 64?
Yes.
What is 64 equivalent to?
2 to the 6.
2 to the 6. So I'm gonna convert that 64 into a 2 power. Everybody good to there? Okay, from there, you're gonna set the powers equal to each other. And the reason why is that if they both have a base 2, you can cross it out. So now that my 2's are gone, I'm just gonna have the exponents equal to each other. So for example, this is now a 2x equals 6. And then your third step is just gonna be 2. So if 2x equals 6, what would my next step be? Divide by 2, what would x equal? 3. Okay. Take a look for me, please, at the next, actually, let's do number 3. Next question, number 3. Okay, I have a 5 on one side. I have a 25 on the other. I need those bases to match. So if this side is a 5, will you find the 5's chart for me? So you should be looking here. And I want to convert 25 So what is 25 the same as? 5 squared, or 5 to the 2, that's right. So let's come down to our problem, and we're gonna take the 25 and we're gonna switch it to a 5 squared. Now, you'll notice that I already had an exponent. What exponent was already there? Then that x minus 3 needs to stay grouped together. And then 5 to the 10 on the other side. So I'm converting the 25 into a 5 squared. The old exponent, you're just gonna group it. Then from there, if I've got 5s on both sides, what can I do with them? Cancel them out. And then you're gonna take the exponents and just set them equal to each other and keep going. Now, because my 2 is on the outside, I'm gonna have to distribute that. What's 2 times x? 2x minus, what's 2 times 3? 6 equals 10. What would I do next? Add that 6 across, what's 10 plus 6? So 2x equals 16. And hopefully we're not going too fast here. Then divide the 2 on both sides. What is your x gonna equal? 8, very good. Make sense? All right, come down for me to, let's do number 4. Okay, on one side I have a 216, on the other side I have a 6. So can you find your 6's chart, please? And we're looking to convert 216. Okay, so it's 6 what?
Cubed.
Very good, 6 cubed. So that's gonna be 6 cubed. Was there already an exponent over there?
Yes.
Yes, there was already an x, right? So I'm gonna group that. Even though it's grouped by itself, just put it in parentheses. Okay, and then on the other side, I already have the 6, and I already have the x minus 3. Now that they both have a big 6 as the base, what can I do with that? Cross it out.
How did you do that?
Oh, I'm sorry, I wrote it down wrong. That is a 4. Thank you. Okay, then from there, the 6's are gone. I have a 3 and an x. What's 3 times x? 3x equals. And then x minus 4. What do we do from there? We're trying to solve for x. How can I get rid of this 1x? Add or minus, which one? Minus. If it's a positive 1x, I need to subtract that across from the 3x. So 3x take away 1x gives me how many? 2x is negative 4, and then divide by 2. So x would equal negative 2. Questions on that? Okay, let's do number 6. Okay, on one side I have 125, on the other side I have a 5. What chart should you be looking in? The 5's chart, and what number are you looking for? 125. So look in your 5's chart. What is 125 equivalent to?
Cubed.
5 cubed, very good. What do I do with the original exponent that was already there? Put it in parentheses. Now you'll notice on the other side that I just have a 5. Okay, anytime that you don't have an exponent, that means you have 5 to the 1. So just put a 1 there. 5 and 5 to the first power are the same thing. Okay, but the reason we need that 1 there is because what are we about to do with those 5's? Yeah, we're about to cross them out. And then all we have left is the 3x minus 2 equal to 1. So 3 times x is 3x. What will come next? Minus 6 equals 1. Then add that 6 across. What is 1 plus 6? 3x equals 7. Then divide by 3. Okay, for your practice, just leave it as a fraction. Because if you divide 7 by 3, it gives you, 0.333, and it'll count it wrong if you do that. Okay, last one, number 5, we're not gonna do it, we're just gonna set it up. What chart should you be looking at for number 5? What chart should you be looking at for number 5?
9, 8,
Eight.
Okay, so I'm looking for 8, but in what chart?
2.
The 2's chart. Do you see how you're trying to make the bigger number match the smaller number? So what is 8 as a power of 2? 2 to the 3rd. So I'll have 2 to the 3rd equals. And then on this side, do you see how the parentheses are covering the 2 and the x minus 1? I'm gonna adjust that to just be the x minus 1 and the 3. And the reason why is when you slash those 2's out off both sides, the parentheses would be what the original exponent was. So then these guys are gone, and then you would just continue solving. So I'd have 3 times x is 3x. What about 3 times minus 1? And then equals 3. I guess, blah, 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 we might as well just finish it. Add the 3 across, what do you get? Okay, that'd give us 3x equals 6. And then divide by 3, final answer would be what? 2. Okay. How are we feeling on that? A little bit okay?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead and turn the page. There are a couple of special cases that we're gonna look into. So go ahead and turn the page and let's look at number 7. So you have 9 to the x minus 6 equals 1. Okay, and we need both sides to be a base 9. So I'm gonna put 9 to the x minus 6 equals 9 to the what? Now, we talked about this on the first page, and I think we ended up having to put it in the calculator, but what is the power that you can put on any number that will give you 1 as the final answer? 0. So if this is a 1, and I do 9 to the 0, those are the same, yeah? So if your original number here is a 1, you can pick whatever base you want as long as you make sure your exponent is a 0. Okay, and then from there, what's gonna happen? Cancel out the 9's. I have x minus 6 equals 0. And then if I add that 6 across, x equals 6. Are we good with that? So if you want to come up here to your special cases, let's fill in the blank. Any base to the 0 is 1. So anytime that you're trying to equal a positive 1, you're going to copy the base, use a 0 up top. Okay, there's one other rule that we have to review. If you have an exponent in a fraction, no one in the other class remembered this. But what do you do if your exponent is on the bottom and you're trying to bring it up? Okay, it is divided right now, but I want to bring the b to the m up to the top where it's not a fraction anymore. Do you remember what you do to the exponent?
Flip it.
Kind of, you turn it negative.
Oh.
So if your base has an exponent on it, on the bottom of a fraction, when you pull it up, you're just going to turn the exponent negative. So let me show you what I mean by that. It's not super hard. So look at number 8. So I have 2 to the x equals 1 over 64. Now, will you please turn the page over and look in your 2's chart? What is 64 as a base 2?
2 to the 6.
2 to the 6. Okay, when your equation is like this, you can't cross out the 2's. And the reason why is because one of the 2's is on top, but the other 2 is on the bottom. That's not going to work. So what we're going to do is take the 2 to the 6 up, but you're going to have to use a negative on the exponent.
Good question.
Uh-huh.
Let's say you do like 8 to the 8 squared. Right?
Uh-huh.
Would that be the same answer?
No, and the problem is that then you have a 2 base on one side and an 8 base on the other side, and then you can't cross them out. So that wouldn't be wrong, but it wouldn't help you solve.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So my 2 to the 6 is gonna come up. But now it's a 2 to the -6. So when you drag that 2 to the power up, you just turn the power negative. Then from there, what can I do with those matching 2s?
Cross.
And then x equals -6. Okay, let's do a couple more of those just to make sure that we got it. Let's take a look next at, let's do number 9. Okay, I have 1/16 to the 5th. So I'm gonna put 1 over something to the 5th equals 2 to the 4x. Will you please look in your 2's chart? What am I looking for? What number? 16. Okay, so you do not have to memorize these, but what is 16 as a base 2? 2 to the 4. Now, where is your 2 to the 4? It's on the bottom of a fraction. So in order for me to pull that up, what do I have to do to the exponent? So now it's 2 to the -4. And then remember, whatever your original exponent was, you're just gonna keep it in parentheses. Now that they both have the matching 2 bases, you can eliminate them and then just keep solving. So my 2's are now gone. What is -4 times 5? Remember, that's multiplication going on up there. -20 equals 4x. And then I don't like having x on the right hand side, so I'm just gonna flip flop it. So that really means that 4x equals -20. And then what would my last step be? Very good, divide by 4. And -20 divided by 4, my answer would be -5. Okay, let's do number 11. Okay, try to convert it for me real quick. Okay, so look at your chart. For number 11, see if you can convert that one. We'll do it here in a sec.
Yeah. Wait, what are we looking at? 3?
Okay, we're looking for 9 in which chart?
3.
The 3's chart. You want your bigger number to match your smaller number.
Oh,
So 9 is what as a 3?
3.
Hold on, is it 3 cubed?
Oh, no, 3 squared.
3 squared.
I'm like, wait, which one is it?
Okay,
But no.
good. So my 9 goes to a 3 squared, but I can't cross out a 3 squared off the bottom. So I'm gonna have to pull it up. What happens to my 3 squared? Now it's a 3 negative squared or minus. Very good. And then once you get to there, cross the 3's out, keep solving. So what will my final answer be?
X equals -.
Will it be negative?
Oh, positive.
Yeah, if you divide 2 negatives, your final answer comes out positive.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, do we feel like we can kind of do that? Yeah,
Yes.
Okay.
queen.
Okay, turn the page. There's one other thing I have to prepare you for. And it's what if your numbers don't end up in the same chart? Okay, so I'm gonna rip my notes off so I can show the chart. You don't have to do that though, you can just look at mine. Okay, for number 13, which of these is my smaller base? So I want 27 in the 9's chart, yeah?
Mhm.
But is it there?
No.
No, the 9's chart starts at 81. So what you're gonna have to do is lower both bases where the least common base is. So if I'm trying to match 9 and 27, what chart are both of those in?
3.
The 3's chart. So I would come over here to 9 is gonna go to a 3 squared. And I'm gonna keep the old exponent grouped. And then for my 27, that's what? 3 cubed, what do I do with my old exponent? Put it in parentheses, and remember, you're multiplying those. So my 3's are gonna cross out. What will I have on the left side when I distribute?
2x plus 6.
Okay, 2x plus 6. 3 times 2 on the other side. Next step. Okay, minus the 6 across. What is 6 minus 6? 0. And is 0 still a number?
Yeah.
Keep solving. How do I get rid of the 2? 0 divided by 2 is 0. Okay, there is a question in your homework where the answer is 0, so just to prepare you for that, 0 is a number 2, and there's one question where that's answered. Okay, let's do one more. Let's do number 15. Okay, number 15, look in your 4's chart for 32. 4's chart for 32, is it there?
No.
Okay, then you need to find the chart, that the 2's chart, very good. Okay, very good. So my 4 is gonna go back to a 2 squared. X is just kind of chilling. And then my 32, just like Jamori said, is gonna switch to a 2 to the 5.
Good job, sir.
Yes, very good job. Okay, and then my x minus 8 in parentheses. Okay, from there, my 2's match, I can cross them out. I have 2x equals what?
5x minus negative 40.
Minus 40, very good. Then from there, remember, if you have x's on both sides, just get them together by subtracting 1 across. Now, should I bring the 2x over this way?
No.
No, because you're trying to get x alone. So if I bring 2x over here, now everything's on the same side. I want to take away the 5x. So remember, you're trying to get x by itself. So don't bring it over to where all the other crap is. Get it alone to the left side. So what's 2 minus 5? Negative 3x equals negative 40. And then last step, divide by negative 3. So x is gonna equal 40 over 3. Okay. All right, the last 2 questions we're gonna do in a little bit. These are your level 3s on your practice. So I would like for you, when you're doing your practice, not to get there yet. You probably won't get there till after lunch anyways, but we'll do these 2 examples in a little bit. Okay?
Eliminate.
All right, so pull out your practice. If you want some scratch paper, I'll bring that around.
Yes, not cheating.
Anybody else?
Oh, and then.
I have one. Is it the 5 feet?
Oh,
You have one?
yeah, I'm on it.
Oh, okay. There you
Now.
go. Yeah. Y'all need paper here?
Yes, please.
There you go. Where's Amy?
Oh my gosh, she getting out.
Oh, cause you passed it.
What am I doing?
Where do you get yours?
I don't No, I was in the guy.
Want some paper?
It's so good.
So hungry.
Me too, me too. I'm like, Betty.
Okay, so go ahead and just click on the first question.
Chance of the already raining. Definitely not 100%, 70.
Okay, and y'all don't do the first question yet, just open it.
The one with the flag, Mia, you don't know who that is? Mia. I see you every day.
Okay, did y'all find it?
Yes, ma'am. Take your time, take your time. I haven't played Candyland in so long. What do you mean? I love Candyland.
I think the login with
The board game.
I think you have to know.
Cause you,
Hold on.
Not
you're not you, I'm Jigsaw.
Yeah, you're playing, wanna play the game? Yeah, I knew who you were.
Oh, okay, yes, I get it. Cause I was looking at that and it kind of like the,
You know how my brother is?
uh-huh.
So he's on a little.
Alright, we're getting signed in.
And I was gonna put it on him while he was asleep.
Oh.
And then he woke up and he's like, no. I'm going to the doctor today too.
Alright,
Don't be like, what's going on up there?
okay, real quick, first question. We're only gonna go over two. Which way should I shift this if there's a +1 here?
Oh,
No.
Up or left? Up is correct. So grab your green dot right here and you're gonna shift it up 1. And you're gonna notice that instead of your graph getting closer and closer to the x-axis, now it's gonna be getting closer and closer to 1. Everybody good so far? Okay. This, you need to pay attention before you do it. Okay, is this a stretch or a compression? Stretch, which means that if my original dot is 1, I want to cross through 4 dots above that. What number would that be? 5. Now, you can't drag this dot over to 5 or it's gonna count it wrong. You need to drag this dot, don't do it, straight up until it cuts through at 5. So watch me do it first, then you do it. Okay, you have to drag it straight up. So if I move it to 4, is that high enough?
no.
5? No. 6? 7? What's it cutting through if I put it right on 7? 4, but it's supposed to hit 4 boxes above 1, which is how many?
5.
So we have to keep going up. Okay, is it hitting at 5 yet? Okay, then it has to be at 9. And when it hits at 9, do you see that now it's perfectly intersecting at 5? Yeah. But your dot has to stay on the 1 line or it's gonna kind of wrong. Okay?
Okay.
And then once you got it, you can hit submit. So the graphy ones are a little funky like that. You have to keep that first blue dot on the 1 line. So go to 1 column.
No.
But you can't slide
So
it
negative
down.
3 means down.
And then see how now it's hitting it at your number? Were you able to get it? Oh, this is.
What's the word? Like mother?
The blue dot should be at 1,9 and the green dot should be at 1.
What does it look like? Not, it's not 3D. But why did your graph do that?
Okay, and then we're gonna do one more question together. It's the last level 2.
What are we doing?
We're gonna do one more question together, the last of the level 2s.
The last level 1.
The last level 2.
Wait, go to the last. The last.
Last level 2. I think it's 3rd from the bottom.
Yeah.
So you have time to do your graphs first if you want, and then we'll do that one in a second. Yes. So bring it down 3. And then how far above should your bird box be? And then you wanna drag this up until that hits at 0. So people gotta stay on the one, there, maybe up to 3.
This one's down to 3.
Yes, no.
You see what I'm saying? Oh, yeah. That's. Go ahead. Oh, just ask me all, I mean, we're gonna do one for example. Yeah. Let's say it. And I see your equation, you went down to 3. And then go on that screen.
Oh. Why has to one? Oh.
Alright, can we do this one together? Alright, go ahead and write it down. It's 1/28. This is third from the bottom. Okay, I'm not gonna do all of it for you, but I'm gonna kind of start it for you because a lot of kids in second period got kind of lost. This is third from the bottom. It's the last level 2. Okay. So there's a 128. There's a 128 and a 32. So can you look through your charts?
Oh, yeah, I got it.
I guess I do, yeah.
Okay, which chart can transform a 128 and the 32? They have to both switch. Okay, let's do 128 first. 2 to the what?
7.
Now, if it's coming up from the bottom, should it be 2 to the 7? 2 to the -7. And then what do I do with the old exponent? Okay, very good. Okay, on the other side, I had a 1/32. What is 32 as a base 2? 2 to the 5. Then what will 1/32 be? -5. Very good. You got it from there?
Yes.
Okay, then we're gonna cross those 2's out now that they match. What is -7 times -5x? Yes. And then what about -7 times -12? 84 positive. Okay, on the other side, -5 times 2x. And then -5 times 2. Okay, what should I do from there? Got x's on both sides.
Add 10.
Add 10x across, very good. So I would always combine your x's first. So we're gonna take the -10x, cross it out with a plus 10x. What is 45x plus, or oops, 35x plus 10x? Plus 84 equals -10. Can you finish it from there? Okay, what's your next step? Subtracts the 84. What is -10 minus 84 more?
-94. Good job, lady.
Yeah.
And then from there,
Divide. Both sides.
will 94 divided by 45? Then just leave it like that. Now, in the box, you're only gonna put the number. Do not put x equals, it'll count that wrong. So it should be -94 slash 45. Okay? Yes. That's
So you scared of
okay, don't do the level 3s right now. No level 3s right now, but you can work everything else. And I'm gonna write down your test grades real quick.
Okay.
That was so fun.
Oh. Why? Why you doing that?
Yeah, why?
Not being bad. Would this one go to negative, one, or the 3 of them? Yeah.
You go to both those?
Hang on, right now, let's see. Right.
So,
When you're
Speaking,
the
yo,
loudest one in the room.
no, I'm not, guys.
Both one, those.
Why is it wrong? It's the wild.
Yo, I'm just excited about practice out like this.
Move
Yeah,
up.
me too. I think there's two groups in the section because I heard them both like.
It's gonna be so nice.
Oh,
Maybe
nice.
me. Oh my, anyway.
They wanted to be Calvin and pick up some of this food. Like eight of them. But I was like, oh, I already know. What we're doing. She wanted to do that so bad.
This
But
is
I
a
was
cool
like, "Ow,
room
that
one?"
makes sense. You have glasses, you're obviously silent. She's like, more of that.
Oh, so you can have all the way through.
I basically have to bring. That's what I'm doing to me all the time.
Okay, girl. Is that through the one? Yeah, all right. My eyeball itch for some reason. I don't have that issue.
No. Wait, what? No, we don't. So my eyeballs hurt.
You have to
Or
itch.
Why are eyeballs?
Oh my
That's like the one place something shouldn't itch.
Your eyes do itch.
They should not. It's hopefully.
They itch. Your eyes itch.
Yeah, not.
Yeah,
not
the
on
air. The air is hitting my eyes.
Itching. I haven't put it in.
Yeah, or maybe it's burning. I don't know.
See my eyes burn. So I can put them.
Yeah, she see there. Yes, indeed.
What'd you call me? Yeah, so.
Stop, guys. Do better. Do better. Do better. Do better. Wait, what am I trying to do?
Yeah, I just.
What's wrong with this?
Yeah, I just blamed it. How did I?
Oh, wait, you're trying to make the bigger number equal to the
You
smaller
want the
number?
bigger number to equal the smaller number, and if you can do that, you change them both
Okay.
to a smaller number.
Okay, okay. My stomach is growling me as you.
What?
That's not right, man. She's talking about her stomach was rumbling and rumbling and rumbling and
Move it
rumbling.
down, what?
No. It's just that I don't like drink energy drinks and nothing. I'm naturally like this. Like I don't have anything to blame it on. One X minus one X. X minus 8 equals 3.
That's crazy.
8 plus 3 is 11, right?
Yeah.
Good job.
You're already heading?
Would I just put 11?
One, why'd you put three?
How's it going?
I do better.
No, that's not.
It's gonna be bad.
No.
Okay, guys, sometimes you just have to eat visuals of your life.
Oh my god. I was just tagging this to perfect. It's like this one person.
Jamori, you wanna come see?
Yes. Across the.
Yeah.
Anyone can see.
Name? I'm sorry.
Tomorrow's the only day I can't do, I can do Thursday.
Right.
You're there anyway.
Yeah.
He only a whole constitution that never made No, Siri. She always listening, but why can't you be quiet, girl? Her mama did not. keep it, no,
X
ma'am.
plus 3, can I just make it 3x notes?
No, x plus 3, you'll have to minus the 3 across to get rid of it.
I don't know. What is the cup challenge thing? I didn't cup. No, I forgot it. No, it's. I was. I don't need to get the long way round. Mia, you gonna do your October thing that everybody does on Instagram? The thing, the October thing? Where you like post all the pictures and stories? I don't know. Yeah, Mia, let's go, Mia. You gotta be in. I believe you can. I wanna call you Anthony so bad, but I know it's not your name. Guys, like, he looks like Anthony, he doesn't look like his name. He's like, he does look like his name too. Like, does that make sense?
What is his name?
His name Val, right?
Valentine.
Valentine, yeah. I'll put his name. Louise. Oh my god.
Okay. All right, so we just have 2 questions left. And then actually, since y'all have pretty limited time left in class, maybe we're just gonna do the harder of the 2 and just do 1. Is that okay? So out of the last 2 level 2s, look at your notes. Which one looks harder, first or second? The second one, because it has what kind of numbers? It has fractions, right? So this is the very last page of your notes. We're just gonna finish up. All right, so I have a 1/3. So that's gonna switch to 3 to the -1. Okay, think about if that makes sense. The 3's on the bottom. Okay, so it's the same as 3 to the 1, but in order for me to pull it up, I have to turn it negative. Are we all good with that? Okay, then where does the old exponent go? In parentheses, so it'd be 2x squared minus 10x. This is the last question on your notes. Okay, on the other side, I have a 27. What base do I need to convert that to? 3. So look in your 3's chart. What is 27 as a base 3? And if I want 1/27, then I'll use 3 negative cubed, right? And then -2x plus 42. Okay, so think about if that makes sense. I switched both sides to be a base 3. I had to use both negatives because they were both fractions. Okay, from there, cross those base 3's out. And we're gonna multiply in those numbers from the outside. So my -1 times 2x squared is now a -2x squared. What about -1 times -10? Okay, plus 10. Oops, not squared. Okay, then on the other side, -3 times -2 is a 6x. And then can y'all help me out with the calculator here? What's -3 times 42? minus 126. Okay, now look at your equation. Anytime you're solving an x equation, you get one answer. That's how all your practice has been so far. But if it's an x squared, how many answers are you gonna end up getting? 2, and the way that you solve an x squared is you get everything on the same side, and then you t-chart, which is what we just finished in that last unit. So I'm gonna minus my 6x across. So now I have negative 2x squared. 10x minus 6x is 4x left over. And then my minus 126, I'm gonna have to add that across. But I'm just gonna kind of put it at the back because I can't actually combine the 126 with the 10 or the 2, right? Because it's a number by itself. Okay, so we have plus 126 equals 0. Question, should I t-chart right now?
No.
No, because you can't t-chart with a negative. And if there's a GCF, you're supposed to pull that out. So what should I divide everything by? Negative 2. So that's going to give me an x squared. What is 4 divided by negative 2? Negative 2x in the middle. And then what about 126 divided by negative 2? 63. Oops, I can't divide. Okay, from there, we're t-charting. What's our t-chart number? A times C. 63. Thank you, negative 63. And then can anyone think of 2 numbers that times to 63? 163. 2 won't go. 3 times 21. 4 won't go, 5 won't go, 6 won't go, 7 times 9. And which of those will subtract to give me 2 in the middle? 7 and 9. Which one do I want to put the negative on? The 9, because I want the result to be a minus 2, and I want the bigger one to take the negative. So I'm going to have x plus 7 and x minus 9. Then what are my 2 answers that I would type in?
Negative 7.
Yes, very good. Okay. So that's a level 3. The only difference from your level 1 and 2 to your level 3 is instead of getting just 1 answer, you're going to end up getting 2 answers. Okay. And y'all do all have the same questions for those. So if you want to try to do those together, you have about 20 minutes. So let's try to get those done. Probably not, but I'll check. I don't. With the nurse.
Oh, can I ask if you do it like right there?
Yeah. Go ahead. That wasn't the actual question. That was one on the notes. What do you do?
Laney, if you did leave the brothers down, I don't know, you didn't.
What? You know, I know. Paris, bro. Paris up the thing, but.
Because it's not over, right?
So you drop it.